Welcome. Music for Youth and Pequot Library would like to welcome Itamar Zorman, Michael Katz, and Lisa Stepanova from the Lysander Piano Trio. They're going to be part of our Young Concert Artist Series today, and we're so grateful to have you here. We'd like to start by asking you a couple of questions about your musical careers. When did you start playing music, Itamar, and what kind of musical opportunities did you have as you grew up? And then also, when was that pivotal moment when you decided to make music a career?
I started when I was 6 years old. I liked the sound of the violin very much from the beginning. It appealed to me. I started, I was in a Suzuki class at the conservatory, so we were a group of kids playing together, and I remember I really enjoyed it, somehow also the social aspect of making music. So I was studying Suzuki for a few years, and then I went to another teacher at the conservatory. I would say that I began, I always loved it. Mm-hmm. I think I started really taking it seriously and thinking about it as a profession around the age 13, 14.
So pretty young.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process. It wasn't like one day I woke up and I decided that this is what I'm going to do. I just liked it, and more I got involved and cared about it, and then at I think age 14 my parents didn't need to tell me to practice anymore. That was the pivotal
point. Okay, that's good to know. So are your parents musicians?
Yes,
okay.
Both of them.
Okay, that makes sense, yes. Great. Michael, let's go to you.
Yeah, so I started when I was 7. My parents are not musicians, but they're both great music lovers, so I've been listening to classical music essentially from the day I was born. Mm-hmm. And when I was about 3, I think, I saw a video of a chamber orchestra, and as soon as I saw the cello for the first time, I really can't recall why, but I saw the cello and I decided that thing was pretty darn awesome and I have to play it. And my parents thought I was too small, but eventually when I was 7 they decided, okay, it's time to give him what he wants.
Yeah.
And like Itamar, we're both from Israel. We studied in the same conservatory, and I think one of the most exciting opportunities I had when I was young, which was also the first time we played together, was when the Promo Music Program came to Israel. I think I was 12 at the time, it might have been a year or two older. And it was just really inspiring to work with other musicians, some of them our age, right. Some of them older, and work, of course, with a great artists like Mr. Perlman. And I think for me also, it was around that age when I decided that music was not just a hobby. It wasn't just something that I liked doing. It was what I wanted to do for living.
Was that a summer program, or was that actually through the?
It was actually in the winter. Mm-hmm. It was December through the beginning of January.
Great. That's a pivotal moment. Mm-hmm. Probably, yeah. That's excellent. How about you, Lisa?
I started when I was 4. Mm-hmm. My parents are scientists, but my grandma, with whom I was staying quite a bit when I was little, she's a great music lover, and she found somewhere in Russia, I'm from Russia, a piano that was imported from Germany, and it was from the 19th century, and it had candle holders and it had beautiful embellishments on it, and I couldn't help but fall in love with this instrument, and it's been the piano ever since. Also, it was my grandma's favorite instrument. I probably got serious about it at the age of 9 or 10 when I started attending a pre-professional school in Russia that was very much professionally oriented, but we had all sorts of requirements. But I also we had a lot of music classes. Mm-hmm. We had classes in theory, music history, and in all sorts of things. So it was a full immersion, and I think from that time on.
Oh, that's great. So early music education, it's a big thing. Could you tell us a little about the Lysander Piano Trio? One of you maybe could tell us how you came together. It sounds like you two might have known each other in the past, but how you came together to start this Lysander Piano Trio and go into full mode of operation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this group, we all met at Juilliard together. Of course, yes. I knew Michael from before, and Lisa and I were dating already back then when we started. Mm-hmm. So I think, Lisa and I wanted to play a trio, and we heard great things about Michael, so we stopped him in the corridor after a class and asked if he would like to join us.
Great.
And he agreed, and then we took coachings for a few years with faculty at Juilliard. That was very helpful, also kind of shaping how we play as a group.
Did you do the fish off? competition?
Yes, finish off. We did Coleman afterwards.
Right.
Ariaga, and then Concert Artists Guild, which was really the competition that kind
Brought
of...
you together. How
Yeah.
long have you been with Concert Artists Guild now?
This is our
We're in
third
our
year.
third year.
In third year. And that's been a very good,
Yeah,
Excellent.
Strategy for
really
you
managed
too.
to get us out to the music world.
that's great. Well, we do want to talk to each one of you about practice, because one of the biggest hurdles I think any young student faces when they start their instrument is how you get into a good practice routine, and when does that practice seem like something that's intriguing and worthwhile instead of a drudgery, right? So maybe you could give us some practice hints, and we'll start with Itamar here, and you could tell us a little bit about how you get your fingers going and how you get your mind focused on the music as you go into a practice state.
First of all, I would say that it's completely normal for someone not want to practice at that point, at a certain point during the day. It happens to all of us, and it still happens to me, and of course it happened much more when I was young. So first of all, it's completely normal. I think part of it is reaching some sort of a routine of practicing. If you really do it every day for a while, you'll get used to just picking up the instrument and starting to play. I agree that it has to be interesting. I mean, you practicing when you're bored doesn't contribute anything. You're not going to get better.
Yeah. Have you ever felt yourself getting into that bored state and you just have to stop and move away and
Yeah.
then do some mental exercises to...
Yes, I actually find, I mean, this is, it doesn't really substitute real practicing, but you can imagine that you're practicing, like, but really think about it with a lot of concentration, really the motions that you're doing, really almost hear the music in your head. It does help.
Yes.
You don't have to do it with the instrument.
Exactly. You can practice away from your instrument.
Yeah,
Right.
you can. And I would say, I mean, it's very helpful to take breaks, even every half an hour.
Right.
But during those breaks, I would try to avoid really getting into, like, strongly into something else, like, don't start like watching a movie or something.
Right, right. It doesn't work.
You just rest and try to let your brain calm down.
Right, that's a very good point. Yes, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with everything Itamar said. I would add also that I think it's important to not just practice for the sake of practicing. I mean, of course, it is very important. It's very crucial to have that routine to practice every day. But when you are practicing, you want to know what you're trying to achieve in that session.
Right.
You need to have a goal. If you're just saying, well, I guess I should practice, so I'll just start playing. More often than not, you're not going to get anything out of it. So you need to know what piece you want to work on, what problem you want to solve. Think of some ways, sometimes we're looking at a solution for a problem that doesn't work, but through that we're thinking of another solution and something else we can do. So it's always practicing. There is something about exploring through it. There is no formula of practicing that works for everybody all the time.
No, I think that the point is well taken, though. If you set goals, then you have a beginning, a middle, and an end to the process. And a lot of times we forget to set some.
Yeah.
And the goals can excite you and make you curious. Well, maybe you need to know something a little bit more about your music and who wrote it and the history behind it and. So Lisa, how about you? Because you have to practice so many hours a day, I'm sure.
A couple of points. I think one thing that everybody needs to learn is to enjoy slow practicing. I think sometimes people think that slow practicing is a chore, but I actually think that slow practicing is an opportunity. Because especially on the piano, when we look at a page and we're playing notes with both hands, we have lots of notes at the same time, we have lots of markings from the composer, and it's just a lot to process. And it's a wonderful feeling being able to do it slowly and really being able to zoom in on each one of those ideas that one is working on. So that's very helpful. Another thing is that I think it's important from the very first moment you get a new piece, you open the music to practice musically and to try to figure out what is this piece trying to say. I see sometimes in students that they open a new piece and they just start playing and then they come to a lesson and say, oh, I just learned the notes for now and the rest will come later. I actually think the more you can imbue every note with the beauty from the beginning, the more interesting your practicing will be and the faster you'll actually improve.
And probably the more interested you are in practicing it as
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
Which is the whole key to the success of the process,
That's
right?
right.
Well, we actually have to get ready to get on stage, and we just wanted a few moments with you to talk to you about, your life with music, and if there's any other thoughts that you might have that you'd like to share with a young student starting off in violin, cello, anything you'd like to say that you'd...
I think find something specific that excites you. I mean, I think we live with music all the time, and there are a lot of different composers that we love, especially after we play them a lot. But I think we all start with one composer, one particular genre or period of music that spoke to us especially. So I think if you're able to find that at a young age, that will really excite you more.
And listening to live music is so crucial, don't you think?
Absolutely.
To see the whole experience, and that's really the whole goal behind Music for Youth, is to bring these live performances to the students so that you can see the light coming through the windows, you can see the excitement of the performers as they reach out, and we're just so grateful to have you here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.